Tourism Working Group has recently launched an information campaign for the general public, and last night, October 18th, the members were special invited guests at the Chamber of Commerce meeting held at the Veranda Resort. The group has issued a report earlier this year. That report was also reviewed by government. Tourism Group Chairman Clive Stanbrook at the Chamber of Commerce meeting explained some of the recommendations that include creating a new entity to better promote the TCI as a tourist destination, building an effective public-private sector partnership, improving delivery of customer service, and expanding the target markets and range of tourism activities. The questions then rolled in from chamber members. This man questioned the group on the government's involvement in the new entity.
There are times when there are caucuses that require the presence of the minister, and there are caucuses for all directors of tourism. When there's a caucus for the Minister of Tourism, who represents the government in that case?
Tourism Group member Kingsley Bean explains.
The government's role would be primarily respect to the setting of the national policy with respect to tourism. Under the Ministry of Trade, Tourism and Communications, you have a director of tourism, a deputy, and the necessary structure with respect to that ministry, and we are yet to determine the specific numbers of persons and the designations. The government would then seek to enforce and oversee the policy with respect to the authority. The minister, the director, the deputy, and the respective staff. On the board, you would have government representation to ensure that the policy and the views of government are more or less carried out and respected on the board. So you would always have a minister of tourism who is responsible to ensure that the overall policy of government is adhered to, and a number of staff members to ensure that there's oversight and regulation with respect to the enforcement of the policy.
Also vocal in this week's chamber meeting was leader of the PDM, Doug Parnell.
In your report, aren't you just criticizing the former government? Because most of your strong criticisms start in 2003. And to me, that is extremely important. The issue of a conservation tax was brought up. That was under PDM government. Unfortunately, we weren't there to administer it. Please forgive me if I may sound overly partisan. But that did go into a consolidated fund and was very abused, but that was during a time when the party that instituted it did not have the reins of government. Aren't you just really saying bluntly that you don't want a repeat of what happened from 2003 to 2009?
Chairman of the Tourism Group, Clive Stanbrook, responded to Mr. Parnell.
The government ministers effectively disregarded input from the private sector. Okay, so everything is about a balance, in fact. And if you, in a way, I've got some sympathy for the position that you're espousing, in this sense, that if you look at the act that brought into effect the Tourism Board originally, it said that there was going to be an equal partnership between the director of public sector and the minister, but it never worked like that. That's not the way it worked, and I don't honestly think that there was a great deal of difference between PDM and PNP.